You read the title and you've heard the buzz. AI is officially infiltrating game development in ways that feel like we're living in some kind of science fiction timeline. And honestly, I've got some thoughts on this that I need to get out there because this is either going to revolutionize the industry or turn into an absolute disaster. There's really no in-between here. So let me give you the rundown on what's actually happening right now. Major studios are partnering up with AI companies to integrate generative technology directly into their development pipelines. We're talking about tools that can generate entire 3D environments from simple text prompts, create NPC dialogue on the fly, and even assist with coding and debugging. EA recently announced they're working with some big AI firms to help their artists build game worlds faster. And when I say faster, I mean like exponentially faster. We're talking about processes that used to take weeks, now potentially happening in days or even hours. Now, on the surface, this sounds incredible, like genuinely amazing. The potential here is massive. Think about indie developers who have incredible ideas but limited resources. AI tools could level the playing field in a way we've never seen before. A small team could potentially create content that would normally require a studio of hundreds. That's genuinely exciting and could lead to some really innovative games that otherwise would never get made. But here's where it gets complicated, and this is what keeps me up at night thinking about this stuff. The gaming industry already has a pretty rough reputation when it comes to treating developers. Crunch culture is a massive problem. People working insane hours, burning out, sacrificing their health and personal lives to meet deadlines. And now you're introducing technology that could potentially replace entire departments. That's terrifying for a lot of people whose livelihoods depend on these jobs. The elephant in the room that everyone's dancing around is job displacement. If AI can generate environmental assets, write dialogue, create textures, and assist with programming, what happens to all the artists, writers, and designers who specialize in those areas? Studios are already infamous for laying people off right after a game ships, even when successful. Now imagine they have AI tools that can do the work of 10 people. It doesn't take a genius to see where that road leads. And I've seen the arguments from both sides of this. The pro-AI crowd says this is just like any other technological advancement. When photography was invented, people said it would kill painting. When digital art tools came out, people said traditional art would die, and they were wrong. The tools just evolved and artists adapted. They argue that AI will just be another tool in the artist's toolkit, freeing them up to focus on the creative vision rather than tedious technical work. There's some validity to that argument. I mean, nobody's out here mourning the loss of hand-drawing every single frame of animation when we have software that can help with in-betweening. Technology has always pushed creative fields forward. The question is whether this is the same kind of progression or something fundamentally different. The thing that worries me is the speed and scale. Previous technological shifts happened gradually. People had time to adapt, to retrain, shift their skills. AI is moving at light speed. We're seeing capabilities improve month by month in ways that feel almost incomprehensible. A tool that can barely generate a coherent image one year is creating photorealistic environments the next. That's not a gradual shift, that's a tsunami. But real quick, if you're finding this interesting and want to see more content diving deep into gaming industry topics like this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and drop a like on the video. It genuinely helps get these discussions in front of more people who care about where gaming is headed. And drop a comment down below with your thoughts on AI and game development because I'm curious to hear where you all stand on this. All right, back to it. There's also the whole quality question that I think gets overlooked in these discussions. Can AI actually create content that has soul, that has the weird quirks and imperfections that make games memorable? Some of the best moments in gaming history have come from happy accidents, from developers doing something unconventional, from human creativity that breaks the rules in interesting ways. I don't know if an AI trained on existing content can genuinely innovate in that same way, or if it's just going to regurgitate variations of things that already exist. We've already seen examples of AI-generated content that feels soulless and generic. That corporate smoothed-over aesthetic where everything looks technically competent, but somehow hollow. And that's a real concern. If studios start relying too heavily on AI to cut costs and speed up development, we can end up with a flood of games that all feel the same, all blend together, all lack that human touch that makes great games actually great. Then there's the whole ethical side of this whole thing that's a complete mess. A lot of these AI models are trained on existing artwork, writing, and code. Some of it's probably copyrighted material. Some of it was created by artists who never consented to having their work used to train an AI that could potentially replace them. That's pretty messed up when you think about it. It's like someone studying all your work to learn how to do your job better and then taking your position. The legal framework around this is still being figured out, and it's going to be ugly. And let's talk about the creative aspect, because this is where I think things get really interesting. Game development is collaborative. It's artists and programmers and designers and writers all bouncing ideas off each other. building on each other's work, sometimes arguing and compromising, and coming up with something none of them would have created alone. That human collaboration is where a lot of the magic happens. If you start replacing people with AI, you lose those dynamics. You lose that creative friction that pushes projects in unexpected directions. I've also seen concerns about homogenization. If everyone's using the same AI tools trained on the same data, are we going to end up with games that all start looking and feeling similar? That's already somewhat of a problem with asset stores and pre-made engines. AI could make that exponentially worse. We could lose a lot of the diversity and unique vision that comes from different studios with different philosophies and different artists bringing their own style to projects. But I don't want to be completely doom and gloom here because there are legitimate positive applications. AI could help with accessibility in huge ways. Generating subtitles, creating audio descriptions, adapting interfaces for different needs, that's genuinely valuable. It could also help with localization, making games available in more languages faster and more accurately. Those are things that can make gaming more inclusive, and that's worth pursuing. There's also potential for AI to handle the truly tedious stuff that nobody wants to do anyway. Bug testing, optimization, scanning through thousands of lines of code to find issues. If AI can take care of the grunt work, that frees up humans to focus on the creative and strategic decisions. That could actually improve working conditions rather than eliminate jobs. It all depends on how studios choose to implement it. The real question is whether the gaming industry is going to use AI responsibly or if it's going to be exploited as just another way to maximize profits at the expense of workers. And based on the track record of the industry, I'm not super optimistic. We've seen how microtransactions evolved, how loot boxes became gambling mechanics, how games as a service turned into endless grinds. The industry has a habit of taking potentially good ideas and squeezing every last dollar out of them in the worst possible ways. What we need is some kind of framework, some guidelines, maybe even regulation to ensure AI is used ethically, that artists and developers are protected, that their work isn't used without consent, that studios can't just wholesale replace their workforce with algorithms. But getting that kind of protection in place is going to be an uphill battle, because there's a lot of money to be made by cutting corners. I think the next few years are going to be absolutely critical in determining how this plays out. We're at a crossroads where AI could either enhance game development and make it more accessible, or it could gut the industry of the human talent that makes great games possible. And that outcome depends entirely on the decisions being made right now, by studio executives, by developers, by the community pushing back when things go too far. So where does that leave us? Honestly, I don't have all the answers. This is complicated, but I do know that we need to be having these conversations now, not after the damage is done. We need to be vocal about what we want from the future of gaming. We need to support developers and artists, and we need to hold studios accountable for how they implement this technology. Because at the end of the day, games are art. They're creative works made by passionate people. And if we lose sight of that in the rush to cut costs and boost efficiency, we're going to end up with a pretty hollow industry. AI should be a tool to amplify human creativity, not replace it. Whether that's actually what happens remains to be seen. That's about it. See ya.